Hello and welcome to the first episode of Positively Negative. In this series I'll be looking at my collection of film cameras and talking a little bit about each one of them and what makes them special and why I enjoy using them or what I don't enjoy so much about using them. In this first episode I'll be looking at my trusty Yashica D medium format film camera. So the Yashica D is a medium format twin lens reflex camera. The viewfinder is a waist level viewfinder that you look into from above. It has a pop-out magnifying glass, which is really cool to help you focus. The focusing screen is very bright. I think it's actually stunning to look through. A Yashica D's focusing screen is quite something. It's sort of like got this hyperreal or surreal look to it. The one thing worth mentioning is that twin lens reflex cameras, because of the way the mirrors work within them, the image is flipped horizontally, so it takes a bit of getting used to, but when you move to the right, the image in the viewfinder goes to the left. I found that this problem, you get over it pretty quickly. When you start, you think it's this huge deal breaker, oh no, I can't follow anything, I can't track anything, but your brain sort of compensates very quickly. The top lens is a Yashica f2.8 lens. I think that's why the focusing screen is so bright, because 2.8 is fast for a medium format lens. The taking lens is an 80mm f3.5. Mine also has the Yashica taking lens. I believe that there's another model with a Yashica taking lens, and it seems the internet has decided that the Yashica is superior. I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but the truth is I don't think the layman would notice. I think sometimes we're a bit overly concerned about things like sharpness and minute detail and things like that, where we should be worried more about taking pictures. Some other little details about the camera. I believe it's a complete copy of the Rolleiflex in terms of its layout. So to change the aperture and the shutter speed on the camera, there are these dials on the side that change the numbers if you turn them, and the numbers appear in a little screen, a little window above the lenses. It's quite lovely actually, and it's wonderful because it means when you look down you can see the settings in an instant. Where the D is also different from the Yashica Matte, I believe, is in the cocking of the shutter and of firing the shutter. I believe the Yashica Matte has a crank that auto winds the film and cocks the shutter. The Yashica D, it's separated, so you have to wind your film onto the next frame, and then you have to cock the shutter, and then you have to fire it separately. The shutter is it's a leaf shutter within the lens, which means it's pretty much silent. It's so lovely. You've got shutter speeds from 1 second to 1/500th of a second and a bulb mode. If you're looking for close focusing, you're going to struggle. I know that there are close focusing lenses and things available. I haven't looked into those. But I think the closest you can focus is about a meter or 3 feet if you're an American or very old. Some people say that, it's a huge shift trying to, frame things in square, and that the rule of thirds goes out the window and it's a disaster. I don't think that's true at all. I think people overreact. I think you make do with what you got. And as someone once pointed out, if you think you can't take a good square image, look at every album cover ever taken and you'll see a whole bunch of very cool square images. So I think the hate for square is a bit exaggerated. The styling, I believe it's based on the Rolleiflex. I mean, you could sort of tell. The lenses themselves have this wonderful sort of purple coating on, which looks really pleasant to me as well. I purchased my Yashica D in South Africa from an online retailer based in Cape Town, and I think I paid 1,800 Rand for it about 2 years ago. For that money, you can't really do much better in terms of medium format film cameras. And I think they're still quite plentiful. I looked recently and the prices were still more or less the same. So yeah, in summary, Yashica D, cheaper than a Rolleiflex, looks almost as nice as a Rolleiflex probably, doesn't have the name that Rolleiflex has, so it's not nearly as desirable, so it's a lot cheaper. A lot of people say the Yashica lens, f3.5 lens is excellent or almost as good as the Rolleiflex equivalent. I'm sure Rolleiflex people are going to be like, no, it's not even close. But again, for you and me, young people in film photography, looking mainly on digital screens, probably at your photographs, digital scans, I don't think we'll notice too much of a difference. All in all, I would recommend the Yashica D to photographers who perhaps are early in the film journey, you know, like I am, and like I was especially 2 years ago when I purchased the camera, because it is not too much of an investment. It's not going to break the bank. It is a completely different way of shooting to a traditional SLR camera, and it will broaden your horizons a little bit in terms of shooting with a square format, using something that's fully mechanical without a built-in light meter, which is an interesting one, and will allow you to take very impressive images for very little money in terms of for the camera itself. So that's all for this first episode of Positively Negative. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.